Good morning or noontime for everyone. Thank you for joining. Let me get started. So a little bit about Analytical Factor and myself. Analytical Factor was formed in 2010 with the initial purpose of being a leading and driving force in best practices in demand planning and demand planning forecasting. Over the years, the company's evolved and grown. We have a lot of expertise in both the demand management and Demantra space. I think everyone on the call, most of you on the call at least know me, but my name is Nadav Zivlin. I'm legacy Demantra. Then I spent over a decade at Oracle. And at the end of my tenure there, I was the director of product management, responsible for the demand management cloud and the Demantra product lines. I joined Analytical Factor roughly 4 years ago. And we have a lot of other individuals and contributors who have extensive experience in this space. We focus primarily on planning, whether demand planning, trade promotion planning. That's where our chief and primary expertise and focus lies. So what are we going to talk about today? So first, let's kind of start with the state of the art, or where are things today from an Oracle perspective. Oracle as a company has shifted all their planning solutions to the cloud. Yes, they're still supporting Demantra, and they will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. That lifeline isn't going away. That's still there. Anyone who's on Demantra now can remain there pretty much for as long as they want. But from an investment and forward-looking perspective, Oracle has shifted all their investments and all their innovation to the cloud. From a planning perspective, their three flagship, let's say, offerings are demand planning, supply planning, and sales and operations planning, where demand and supply planning are quite similar to what you had on-premise, with some innovation, and definitely from a technology and maintenance perspective, there's a lot of differences there, and that's great. Sales and operations planning is a big game changer for Oracle. It definitely enables and is much more robust than anything that was on-premise. But an area that's not very well supported right now is the area of trade promotion planning. If you got some very basic requirements, you can model them inside the Oracle Demand Management Cloud. If you got anything more extensive or just that needs more complexity and is really focused around trade, there isn't a ton of built-in support for that. So that's where we come in. The solution we're talking about here is really focused around three different kind of pillars or companies. So folks who are using the Demantra, let's say PTP and or DSM, and are looking for a new generation of planning apps. They're saying, we have what we have. Some is good, some is less good, but for whatever reason, it's time to move on. We're looking for a new generation of planning apps, and we still need to do our trade and settlement processes. Companies without a comprehensive trade solution. So companies that are brand new to trade solutions in general, for the most part, aren't going to be putting the Demantra in place today. They're looking for something that's more forward-looking to make their investment in, so this might be a good opportunity for them. And the last pillar is something we've got a lot of, let's say, requirements from Oracle themselves is saying, look, we've got demand management cloud, it's doing very well, but companies that have a heavy promotional element or settlement footprint, well, demand management cloud isn't always meeting their requirements, or often enough just not enough. So we need something more. So the solution we're talking about today is all about giving you trade in the cloud. had a lot of interest from a variety of companies in the areas of food and beverage, especially wine and spirits, automotive parts. They promote heavily, and they need mechanisms to manage those promotions, and CPG. Now, I'm from Analytical Factor, but you'll see the Trinomix logo everywhere here. We have partnered with Trinomix to develop and deliver this application. We're co-developing, co-delivering, and we really are partners in this endeavor. So what's the solution? We call it TPP, Trade Promotion Planning, and it's essentially a bridge for managing trade with Demand Management Planning Cloud. It means that on top of the Demand Management Cloud, where we have Oracle's provided a lot of capabilities, they're innovating, they're extending. It's kind of a very fast-moving product. This is an extension to that to support the trade planning element. Key things you could do here is create and maintain trade promotions, something you can't do in DM Cloud. Have a seamless integration. We want to leverage the forecasting engine in DM Cloud, which is quite powerful. It's been vetted. It's been around for a while. It keeps getting new features. So we want to leverage those capabilities that are built in. I don't know about you, but from my couple decades of experience now, I didn't really have the appetite to build a brand new forecasting engine at this time. So we want to leverage those capabilities and just gain that intelligence and incorporate it into a trade-centric solution. We definitely want to have the ability to view and modify in a very intuitive and visual manner, like a calendar, and just take other aspects of our many years of experience in the trade space, things we know worked well, things we know worked less well in a variety of on-premise solutions. So we know that you want to make things as easy as possible for the trade specialists and the sales folks. They want a low-touch system. They want to easily seed a new cycle's promotion based on previous cycle's promotions. They want to very quickly see what worked, what didn't work. And the last piece here is the whole area of settlements, deductions, and budgets. So when I think about trade, I think about the different pillars. One is the actual promotions, where you want to plan your promotions, you want to get ROI analysis on how well they did, you want to get a strong indicator of how well they're going to perform or how poorly. But once you've performed those promotions, the next pillar is the whole aspect of the financial implications of those promotions. So getting settlements, tying them together to promotions, and once you've got that bigger picture of these are promotions I already did, these are the financial implications of those promotions, these are promotions I'm going to perform, tie it all together into a budget or a checkbook. Well, this is how much I have to spend for the year. This is how much I've already spent. This is how much I'm planning on spending. What do I have available so I can use my budget and not exceed it? So all these things come together under the TPP umbrella. So I already mentioned that TPP is going to sit on top of Oracle Demand Management Cloud. So how are we doing that? So in Oracle speak, they'll call it a PaaS solution, a platform as a service. The way I think about it, it's essentially an extension to Demand Management Cloud. Oracle has a marketplace where various partners go through a rather vigorous approval process for their applications, and then you list your applications on the marketplace. And just like you could buy Demand Management Cloud, you can then also license out other cloud applications on Oracle Marketplace, including TPP. So TPP is essentially the hub where you maintain, visualize, and interact with your promotions. It's focused very much on that aspect of the business. Quickly seeing promotions, quickly entering data, and interacting with that. Now, that information is automatically going to go into Demand Management Cloud, where two things are going to happen. One, the forecasting engine of the Demand Management Cloud is going to be leveraged to analyze historical impacts of promotion, see how they shape demand, generate a future forecast. That's one. And two, if you really want to drill down into the very detailed impact of promotion, not just what the baseline incremental promotion was. Let's say a promotion spans 35 products. You want to see the baseline incremental and weekly demand tied to each one of those products. That can be done in DM Cloud. Why do we want to keep it separated? Because we want to keep the footprint of TPP quite light. One of the feedbacks we've gotten over the many years of Demantra users is, look, the tool's strong, but performance isn't where I need it to be. I go in, I open a report, the report's showing me just promotions, but it's taking 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sometimes even more to come up. So our mandate was to keep the solution on the trade side as lightweight as possible, to make it as agile as possible and let folks see reports and track reports very, very quickly. For folks who do want to go into the details, we want to support that. But for the day-to-day activity, where the folks just want to see a promotion, enter details, manage the population, we want to keep that very lightweight and very, very responsive. So that's why we've really separated the two into what you're going to see in TPP, which is the day-to-day just interaction of promotions. And when you want to go into the details, you're also welcome to go into DM Cloud for that. So TPP areas of focus. I'll list them out, but let's just kind of jump into things, shall we? So promotion entry. We want to make it easy, intuitive, and whenever possible, foolproof. Why? Well, we know the folks that are managing and entering promotions, this is probably not their primary task. This is something they're doing above and beyond. For many organizations, the people entering the promotions are out in the field actually selling. And this is something that they need to do. It's very important for the organization, but it's not their top priority. So you want to make it as painless as possible. So we've made it wizard-driven. Something that was really important to us is the ability to import the definitions of the promotion from an Excel. So once you've entered the promotion header, now you've got the actual population of promotion. It might span different accounts. It's probably going to span a whole gamut of products. And a pain point we've heard many times before is folks saying, well, this promotion is going to span 175 products. I really don't want to go in and find and choose all 175. What can you do for me? So that's where importing from Excel comes in. You could just have a template in Excel that lists out your products, the prices, and just import it into the tool, and voila, it's in, instead of going in and having to manually populate it. Something else we've had folks ask us for is, look, we have promotions. We've entered a promotion. It's going to go through an approval process. That's great. But I need to track additional tasks that happen as part of the promotion. For example, I create a promotion, but the account manager needs to contact the retailer and get initial agreement, one. And 2 weeks before the execution of promotion, they need to get final confirmation that, yes, this is going to happen. The signs are going to go up. Prices are going to be updated in store. We want to have tasks tied to our promotion. So here we have that capability. You can have tasks that you define. You can have due dates. You can have escalation points. And finally, we want to have an approval flow. Why? Because for most organizations, you need to have a pretty strict approval process around the promotion. Promotions have real financial impacts for the business, and as such, there's different stakeholders that need to make those decisions. What we went with for approval is we want to take a bit of a hybrid approach. We want to say, when you create a promotion, based on the business unit it's associated to, we're going to give you a default approval flow. Why? Because this is what the approval flow is going to be 80, 90% of the time. So we don't want to have you enter it all over again. But we also want to make it adjustable, meaning that if for a specific promotion or for a specific business reason, we need to have a different flow, someone else managing that approval, etc., that's supported. We're going to have super users approvals, meaning that maybe someone's sick or there's been a reorg. Well, sometimes when there's a reorg, if you've got a really strict approval flow in place, suddenly you realize that someone's left the organization and you actually can't approve the promotions until you've modified the workflows, the approval matrix, and it could be rather challenging. So we said, yes, we're going to have an approval flow, but there's also going to be super users who, if they need to, can go in and approve a bunch of promotions. And finally, something that's come from the user community, we've talked to and said, what do you really need to do when you're approving promotions? They go, look, I need to approve roughly 300 promotions a year. And if it was one a day, it'd be no problem. But that's not how the business works. Twice a year, I get 150 promotions. I've got a day and a half to approve them. So I need mass approval capabilities or mass reject capabilities. I need to be able to kind of very quickly view a bunch of promotions, check a couple things against them, and then approve. So it was very important for us to have these mass approval capabilities. When we thought about visualizations, we sat down and we looked at all the different technologies and different ways folks are visualizing promotions. And we realized the calendar wasn't necessarily the most effective way to do it. The calendar tends to be kind of fixed, had a hard time showing when there was a lot of overlapping information. And for many folks out there, the days of running a single promotion on a given week are over. They've got a lot of different activities, things are running in parallel, and it's very, very important to have the ability to quickly and easily visualize that. So we actually chose to use something called a timeline. So you've got your x-axis, which is time, just like a calendar, but you've got these different blocks, and these blocks each represent a promotion. So some blocks are long, some blocks are short. They each have a name. If you click on the name, you can see additional information about the promotion. And you've got this lower area below, which you can kind of click on, stretch, and compress. So you can actually really change the focus of your timeline. Beyond that, we've got some drop-down filters up top. So if I want to focus on a specific brand, a specific account, I can also apply those layers of filters, and that will limit the number of promotions that I see on my screen. So it's really snappy, really dynamic, and just a different way to visualize and interact with promotions. Just like some calendars out there you've seen, they'll have the ability to click and drag the promotion left and right to change the timing, click on an edge to stretch it. So the usual things around calendars are there, but the timeline is just a different way to visualize and think about promotions. If you look at this picture, I've got, in this specific quadrant, I've got roughly 8 different promotions running more or less at the same time. In a calendar, visualizing this would be quite challenging. Here, it's very easy to see I've got a lot of activity going on. I can see what dates things are on. I can color code the boxes to be tied to a status or a type of a promotion or other computationally driven fields. So you can really get a lot of information very, very quickly using a timeline, something a calendar wouldn't necessarily be very good at doing. Now, why do we want to have these promotional planning tools? A few reasons. One, sometimes we need a central source of truth where we store our promotions, we can audit them, and we're off Excel. Great. But hopefully, another important reason is I want to understand how things performed in the past, how effective or ineffective my promotions have been, and so I can make smarter decisions into the future. I've talked to many companies over the years. Let's call them a Starbucks competitor based out of Massachusetts, who I visited a little over a decade ago, promotes very, very heavily. And the question comes up, well, why are you promoting so much? In a specific region, you've got 20, 30, 40 different promotions in a given week. They go, well, one, we don't know what happens when we don't promote. We're not really sure what's effective or what's not, but we've got a budget, we want to spend it, so we're promoting. And that happens for a lot of companies. Why do you always promote these chips on the 4th of July? Well, that's what we've done the last 3 years, and we're not sure what's going to happen if we don't. So we don't know, therefore we're afraid of not doing it, doing anything different. So this is what reporting really is meant to support. We want to have ROI analysis. ROI is all about looking at which promotions performed well, which promotions performed less well. So here I've actually got some analysis by promotion type. There's other reports that are driven by promotion, but we've got some analysis also by promotion type. Why? Because when you're thinking as a account manager, well, I want to promote at Target. Last year I had a feature and display. What should I do this year? Well, if you had a report that tells you by promotion type at Target, this is the kind of lift I saw based per promotion, and this is the ROI I saw per promotion, well, I can make smarter decisions then. You go, you know what? TPR doesn't give me the best lift, but I get a really good ROI on TPR. Maybe I should do that. Or BOGOs. I was going to do a BOGO, but both the lift and the ROI are both pretty low. So having that insight of how promotions, individual promotions, and also promotions clustered into a group are performing is critical to not just repeating the same thing that was done year after year, but making impactful, positive changes in the business. So that's one. The second part is what-if analysis. So a big part of this tool is the planner comes in, they enter one or more promotions, and they want the tool to now tell them, based on historical behavior and effectiveness of promotions, this is what's likely to happen on the promotion you're planning. And that's going to be driven by the type and the discount and possibly other attributes of the promotion. And that's the real power of using the demand management engine. That engine is very powerful, very flexible. You can model lots of different things in the engine. So having the ability to say, well, these are the attributes of my promotion. Based on these attributes, what is my incremental volume going to be? And then calculate what is my ROI going to be, etc. That's very, very powerful. It's an excellent decision support tool to not just say, well, I'm going to promote in a month and hope for the best. The system now will actually tell you as a planner, well, you're going to promote, and we believe it's going to raise your demand during that month by 3,000 units. Now, here's some ROI analysis. Here's some profitability calculations. You can now decide if you want to tweak your event. It's also going to be very, very useful for the approval decision maker. The managers need to see the event and say, well, you're not just running an event, I like it or I don't like it. There's an analytical backbone that's telling me this is going to be the likely impact of the event. Well, is this meeting my goals? Are we maintaining our margins? Am I just selling a lot of units this week, but I'm going to be short on full-priced units for the next 2 weeks? So all that information is really, really important and is really a critical part of a planning solution. One point I want to highlight here is configurable reports. The cloud infrastructure is wonderful in many ways. It's very low. It's got a very low footprint from a technology standpoint on our organization. It's all hosted. It's all kind of being managed. It's automatically upgraded, which is amazing. No more lengthy and expensive upgrade projects. But the challenge in the cloud is sometimes getting to the data to generate reports is a little more challenging. You have to use web services and something else. It's not like the good old Demantra days where if you had access to the database, you could just write some reports. Well, TPP bridges that as well because the data in TPP, while residing on the cloud, if an IT team is interested, is a lot more accessible. The structures, the data, it's there. So one, you can build or extend reports in TPP, but also if an IT team wants to visualize that information in a different manner, you can do that, and we can help you do that. So we talked about promotion creation, visualization, approvals, and now I want to touch on checkbook and settlement management, that financial pillar of trade planning. So we want to have sales and forecast-driven accruals. For folks who aren't as familiar, essentially, let's say an account doesn't have a fixed promotional budget every year. It's a function of the amount of sales going to that account, the revenue coming from the account, and let's say a certain percentage. And maybe it might be Walmart gets a trade fund that is 5% of their demand for the year, Target gets 8% of their demand for the year, and this critical account we're really trying to push through gets 11. It could be. So there's these budgets that are dynamic and are driven by the sales for the year. Based on those accruals, we want to have kind of a checkbook, essentially an account or account brand level budget where we know how much we think we have to spend, how much we've already spent, etc. And then there's the element of the deductions or settlements, these charges we're getting from the accounts that we need to marry to promotions. So let's take a look through that. So these settlements, you're going to get them for whatever financial system you already have, and we want a quick and easy way to get them into TPP. So either from Excel or a different file, bring in the settlements. So we want to bring in the amount, the currency, the account, the date. Other information will include, if it's available, the item structure that the settlement is against, the time and any attachments, that's just a deal sheet or something like that. Get that information into a central repository. So that's step number one. Once it's in the system, we have two mechanisms to match those promotions, the settlements to promotions. At the end of the day, that's what you need to do. You've executed some promotions. You're getting essentially these bills from your accounts, and you're going to marry the two. You're going to say, this bill I got is because of this promotion. Well, sometimes the bill, you're not sure what bill matches to what promotion. So the system will look at the settlements coming in, will look at the date of the settlement, it will look at the date of promotions that are executed, and will propose some matches. And something that I haven't seen elsewhere, it's going to give a score to these matches. It'll say, you know what, for this settlement, these are 12 promotions that might be a fit. But based on our internal calculations, these are the probabilities that it is a fit for this settlement. So this promotion is an 87%, let's say, fit, and this other promotion is a 27% fit. And the user can still use their insights, business intelligence, to link the two, but we'll give you a score to guide you a little bit more effectively. Sometimes a settlement comes in and it's against a variety of products, or maybe it's a bucket settlement for a quarter that actually should be matched to multiple promotions. You hear that, so there'll be the ability to take a settlement and split it once or multiple times into these subcomponents, and those subcomponents can then be matched to promotion. So that's kind of other tools out there do that. The other part we want to support is automated settlement, matching settlement, and reconciliation. very frequently, when we talk to folks who are doing these tasks, they say, look, I always go through the same steps. It's fairly laborious. I'm not adding a lot of value. Honestly, this could be done by a machine or a better algorithm. So we've worked on an adaptive intelligence algorithm that actually analyzes the different promotions, looks at some historical behavior, looks at matches that are approved, and then based on settlement amount, a match score, and also how frequently things are approved or rejected when it automatically matches, we'll say, I'm going to match these settlements to these promotions. It'll kind of cycle through and match them automatically. And that makes a lot of sense. If it's not a value-added activity, and we always match, we always approve, almost always, why not have the system do it, and then let a user go in and review it, potentially approve, reject, that's all good, but not make it a manual, labor-intensive step for every settlement that comes in. So I think that's going to be a big differentiator and a really powerful part of this tool. Finally, accruals and budgets. So for each account or account, and I would say product category, maintain and let folks interact with the accrual rates. Then take, for each fiscal year, take the historical demand that's already occurred, take the projected forecast, and calculate the accruals. So say, well, this is how much I've already sold, this is how much I think I'm going to sell for the rest of the year. This is what I believe my accrued amount is going to be. And then show a budget. So total budget, approved trade, outstanding trade, unresolved, and available budget. So really give you a picture for each account, how much money you have left to spend, how much money you think you've already spent that hasn't come in through a settlement, all those little nuances and subtleties. Just have the ability to very clearly and easily see it on screen and determine, all right, well, I need to spend more money at Target because I have money and I want to make sure I use up all my budget. Or you know what, at Walmart, I'm kind of going over. Maybe I need to cancel a promotion, or I definitely can't run anything else this year. So that information is really, really relevant, and this type of view can really help with that decision process. Now, I've touched on this a little bit, but I figured it was worth calling out again. So this is a past application. We're working closely with Oracle, talking to them, making sure we're aligned on where they're going technologically and from a product standpoint. But this is something that's being developed and managed by Analytical Factor and Trinomics. And the benefit of that is a very, very dynamic development environment, meaning that if there's a specific feature enhancement that's critical to you, if there's a specific view that's very complex you need built, or something like that, in the past environment, this could be done very, very rapidly. We're talking about feature development that is in the weeks and months time frame and not in the quarters and years time frame. So just the ability to get something, modify it, enhance it, build on it is there, and it really comes down to what the customer base is looking for and what sort of features would improve their effectiveness and just usability. Yep. So I want to leave 10 to 15 minutes for questions and additional discussion. Something that we haven't mentioned yet is the fact that we're going to be at, I'm not sure what the name anymore is, MSC MBX, what used to be hosted in San Jose, and last year I believe it was in Vegas. It's in Chicago at the end of the month. So myself and the rest of my Analytical Factor leadership are going to be out there. So if anyone's out there or thinking about coming out, we'd love to see you. But let me open up the floor to some questions if anyone had any. Shall anyone ask any questions in the chat, or if folks want to ask questions now?
So anyone has a question can pass it through chat. We got a few already for you, Nadav. One first question is about if this solution will hook into other demand planning solutions, for example, SAP.
So natively right now, we haven't developed it to. Right now, it's leveraging the forecasting engine of Demand Management Cloud. But since it's built on REST services though, and it's pretty extensible, if we want to suck in data from another source like SAP, it's something that I think would be feasible. And that's, again, the beauty of it being a PaaS application. If we want to have another data source or have it work a little differently, obviously the devil's in the details, but it's not something I would say a hard no to. So it really comes down to the details on that configuration. What do we want to get from SaaS, and how do we want to visualize it?
Okay. Next question is how long it will take to migrate the current Demand PTP into TPP?
Okay, so assuming someone's, let's say, using PTP today, I think it comes down to a fit gap analysis. That would have to be step number one. Looking at what's being done. Is it vanilla TPP, let's say PTP and DSM, or there are a lot of customizations? And look at that. Actually loading the data is quite quick. So I'm guessing it's going to be in the 3 to 5 months time frame. But again, it comes down to what the subtleties of the existing implementation and deployments are. For example, if there's a highly complicated approval flow that was created in Demantra, then we'll need to sit down and say, well, does this still make sense? Do we need to revisit it? How do we do it in a different tool? So a little bit of most of it's going to be fit gap and seeing if there's highly customized elements that need to be brought over.
Okay. Another one, is anyone using the solution today?
So right now, no. We've had some excellent discussions with some pretty big companies, but it is not in use today. It's something that's the major points have been developed. Where I'm working with the development team in real time, where we're enhancing things, tweaking things. So as soon as someone is serious, we'd be happy to have that discussion with them, one, and two, by virtue of it being a new product, if there's specific things that are critical to your business, and maybe other solutions out there aren't doing, within reason, we'd be very open to looking at enabling those in our solution.
All right, so another related question to it, what is the current stage of this solution?
So on the trade side, we've got the promotional visualization, we've got reports, we've got the promotional creation screens, we've got the back and forth work with ODMC, that's all in place. On the DSM side, we've got a few of the capabilities enabled. Not all of them are fully fleshed out. We're working on those as we speak. And again, what we're spending our time on will also depend on where the market leads us. That's the good and bad of being kind of a small development team. If someone comes in and says, I need really, really comprehensive DSM capabilities with these following features, that'll lead us to spend time on that. If someone says, I'll need DSM right now, but these two features I need around visualization and promotion creation that are critical to me, that'll take us down that path. Yeah, let's see what else. Hopefully folks found this. Actually, any other questions, Charles?
I don't see it, but do you want me to unmute the attendees or anything else?
By all means. Well, I've got a couple of things I want to add, but I think by all means, if you want to unmute the attendees, if someone has another question they want to voice, I'd be happy to take that.
So unmute it. So if anyone has a question, Please go ahead.
All right, then I'll say thank you for your time today. If you have other questions, you want to see a more detailed demo, have a more in-depth discussion, please reach out to us, myself, or the information shown on the screen, and we'll be happy to do that. And obviously, whether you're interested in this solution or not, if you're going to be in Chicago later this month, and we would love to see you. Yeah, please.
There's one more question came in. Some companies develop and use statistical models using R or Python, etc., alongside Demantra models. There any plans to enhance Demantra's analytical engine to include such custom models as well in the model selector?
So in Demantra, the answer is no. In the cloud, I believe they are creating the ability, that should be later this year, I believe, to plug in additional forecasting capabilities to be part of the solution. And if someone wants to have a discussion on that, I'm happy to have it offline. But that is something that Oracle is working on to be part of their solution set in DM Cloud.
Okay.
All right. Well, wonderful. Thanks, everyone, for your time. And yeah, please reach out if you want to have any more discussions about this or any other topic.
Thank you, everyone.